Both of them start at 5:45.
Yeah, both of those finals will be in the lecture classroom at the lecture class time, and once you take your final, you're done for the night.
Yep. Just like making sure it's in the right spot.
All right. So what's this pointing to here?
The lateral commission?
Probable fissure.
Or the
Palpable fissure,
Palpable.
right?
I can't pronounce it.
Palpable fissure because these are the palpebra. What about this black thing in the middle?
The pupil.
It's a tough one. What about the colored part around it?
Iris.
Iris. What do we call this?
Medial commissure.
What's another word?
I don't know.
I remember talking about it, but I don't remember what it
It's a C word. Canthus. Canthus. C-A-N-T-H-I-N-S.
What?
Canthus.
C-A-N-T-H.
T-H-I-S. Canthus. What about this pink blob here in the middle?
Lacrimal car.
Lacrimal caruncle, yep. So what's this glob up here?
Lacrimal gland.
It produces the tears. They wash into this little channel right here called the canaliculus, lacrimal canaliculus. Yep. And what's the hole that it goes in there called?
Extrait sublingual. No.
Isn't that the puncta?
What?
And then this is called the
Lacrimal sac?
lacrimal sac. Drains through the nasolacrimal duct and into the
Your nasal cavity?
nasal cavity. Yep. Keep that box of tissues handy. Crying won't help you, praying won't do no good. All right. So this outer area is called the
Sclera.
sclera, but up here it's called the
That is the cornea.
cornea. Yep. So that's the can't remember the name of it. What about the next layer in here?
Choroid.
Choroid, and the inner layer is the
Retina.
retina. What's this area of the retina here called?
Macula lutea.
Fovea centralis. What's special about it?
What is that again?
What's special about the fovea centralis? Why do they even mention that? I mean, what's special about it? It's where the cones are most concentrated, right? So that's your area of best visual acuity. When you're looking straight ahead, or when you turn your eyes, look at something, that's where the thing that you're focusing at goes to in bright light. In dim light, the peripheral is more important. All right, what would you call this area here? Optic disc. What's another name for the optic disc?
Blind spot.
Blind spot, yeah. No Roger cones there, right? What's this goop here?
What was that?
The vitreous humor. Okay, then up in here, this is the aqueous humor, yep. This is the lens. This is the ciliary body. These are the
Ciliary zone.
or suspensory ligaments or cilia. What about this here? What's this pointing to?
Sclerovenous sinus.
What did I tell you to remember?
No, that's the,
Canal of Schlemm. If that's blocked, what disease does it cause? Thank you.
I don't know how to spell it, but
It's the canal.
If the canal of Schlemm is blocked, glaucoma, yep, glaucoma. Because that's where the aqueous humor drains out. It's constantly formed by the ciliary body, and if the canal of Schlemm is blocked, you got glaucoma. That's good. A little bit of stress, you remember things better.
That's what he yelled out loud.
All right, what's this part out here called? The pigmented retina. That, along with the choroid, prevent the scattering of light in there. What is this thing? Rod. This is a cone. What kind of vision are the rods good at? Dim light. In what color?
Red.
What color are the rods good for?
cool colors.
No colors, black and white. They cover the peripheral areas of the retina, and if you're stargazing, don't look directly at the stars, look to the side a little bit, and you'll see them better because they'll fall on the rods. Cones are the color receptors. What are these cells called that they go into?
Bipolar cells.
Bipolar, because that's what they are. Look, there's one dendrite, one axon coming out. Then these cells, their axons form the optic nerve. What are these called?
Ganglion.
Ganglion cells, yeah. We won't worry about the horizontal cells. All right, that's good for that. So you got to know all these muscles. This is basic: superior rectus, inferior rectus, lateral rectus, and medial rectus. We can't see on that one. Superior oblique.
What's the one in the?
So this would be the superior rectus over here. I'm sorry, go ahead.
The one on the left picture, the bottom middle one.
This?
Yeah, I
That's
couldn't
the
find that.
inferior rectus.
I had that, so that's the left one, but what's the middle one?
This is the inferior rectus. You mean
Okay.
up here?
Okay, so
Yeah,
then
which one?
that one, sorry.
I don't know what that's pointing to. Probably.
I couldn't tell.
I can't tell either. It's not on your test, though. So.
Okay. Okay, that makes more sense.
So this is the superior view, and that's marked on your exam. This is a lateral view, so you notice the lateral. So this is the superior rectus, superior oblique, inferior oblique. No, I'm sorry. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the medial rectus.
Yeah.
The medial?
Yeah, this is the medial rectus, because this is, we're looking
Yeah,
from
right.
up down. So this is the lateral rectus, medial rectus.
Yeah, you have it.
Superior rectus, superior oblique.
Yeah. I know they did a short job.
And this is the best view of the inferior oblique over here.
Now what's that line above?
This one?
No, in front of the eye.
This?
Yeah.
I don't really know what that's, but it looks like it's pointing at the cornea. It's not on your test.
No.
Okay.
What's
Yeah,
this
those
thing
ones
here
will be
called? Trochlea.
Trochlear.
So you know that the superior oblique is innervated by what? Trochlear nerve, right? And the lateral rectus makes the eye look out, and that's what we call that when the eye goes outwards. Abduction, right? So that's the abducens nerve that innervates that. All the other ones are innervated by the oculomotor. You need to know that for this test.
All other are.
Oculomotor.
Okay.
So superior rectus is the trochlear nerve. Here's the trochlear nerve, and the lateral rectus abducts the eye, so that's innervated by the abducens nerve. And what number is what number is the trochlear nerve in the cranial nerves? What number is it? Or what number is abducens? 6. Yeah. Remember this test, the last like 20 questions are list the cranial nerves in order, 1 through 12. So when you have questions about the cranial nerves in here, you can refer to your, hopefully you have all the answers right on the back. So this is superior oblique is innervated by 4, and the lateral rectus by 6. I can never keep all that stuff straight unless I write down the mnemonic. O, if you touch me, or whatever your mnemonic is. All right, what are we looking at here? It's got a name, just like you did. Spinal organ of Corti. Yep, spinal organ of Corti. C-O-R-T-I. What is it? What's it involved in? What sense? Hearing. Yeah, it is the organ of hearing. What nerve goes to the? Well, first of all, what are these things? Hair cells. They're hair cells, so they are the receptors for hearing. So what nerve is going to those receptors?
Olfactory.
What nerve? What cranial nerve is for hearing? Vestibular cochlear. Yeah. So it's the cochlear branch of the vestibular cochlear. The vestibular branch is for what sense? Equilibrium, right? Vestibular branch goes to the vestibular apparatus, which is for the cochlea. Cochlea is for hearing. Vestibular apparatus, the vestibule and the semicircular canals are for equilibrium. All right. What's this thing up here called? Pectoral membrane. Remember, the hair cells are embedded in it. So when the what's this thing down here? Basilar membrane. So when that moves, because of the sound waves, the basilar membrane moves. The hair cells are bent on the tectoral membrane, and that's what stimulates the hearing. What's this up here?
The body part? No.
What's above the organ of Corti up here? A separate thing. Now let's go to the next one. Okay, what is this?
Scala vestibuli.
Scala vestibuli.
The parallel.
The upper chamber is goes to the oval window, by the vestibule. So they call it the scala vestibuli. So what we were looking at on that other one that I asked you was, what do you call this? Vestibular membrane, right? So if we go back to that one, this is the vestibular membrane. This is the scala vestibuli up here. Then this would be, down here would be the what? Scala tympani, right? Scala tympani. Basilar membrane, vestibular membrane. All right. What is this here?
That's just the. Oh.
What bone houses the cochlea and vestibular apparatus? Somebody say temporal. That's the temporal bone. Okay? All of this bone around here is the temporal bone. What's this thing here called? External acoustic meatus, and everybody remembers that's part of the temporal bone. Okay, so there is no leader line, but I have my own leader line sometime. You need to know that this bone is the temporal bone. So what is this bracket pointing to here?
Middle ear.
Middle ear. This is the
Labyrinth.
inner ear, right? This is the
Cochlear nerve.
vestibular cochlear nerve, which is number what?
6.
Up
8.
8. What are these things here called?
Semicircular canal.
Semicircular canals. This is the cochlea.
What's the one? So the line underneath the semicircular canals. I couldn't
This?
figure that. Yeah, I couldn't figure
What's
that.
this pointing to? This thing right here? Oval window, yep.
Okay.
And this line is pointing to this that's connected to the oval window. This is what? Stapes. This middle one is the incus, and this is the
Malleus.
malleus. Okay. This is the
Tympanic.
tympanic membrane, yep. So if this is the oval window, what's this pointing to here? Round window? What's this one pointing to, this area right here? Vestibule, yep. Okay, so cochlea, vestibule, oval window, round window, semicircular canal. This bracket is pointing to all of these. What do we call those?
Auditory ossicles.
Auditory ossicles, yep. So basically, you know just about everything on that. So, what are we looking at here, this whole thing? So this would be, could be in the utricle or the saccule, right? So if it's in the vestibule, the utricle or the saccule, the vestibule, what kind of, what's this involved in? What sense? Equilibrium. Which kind of equilibrium? What two types of equilibrium did we just talk about?
Dynamic.
Dynamic and static. So is this involved in static or dynamic equilibrium?
Static.
Static. The vestibule has the utricle and the saccule, at 90-degree angles each other. They're involved in static equilibrium. What's this pointing to here, this whole hair cell? Yeah. That is a mechanoreceptor for static equilibrium. All right, we'll do this. So once again, this bone is the temporal bone. This is the scalovicipuli. This one is the
Cochlear duct.
cochlear duct, yep, which houses the organ of Corti, the organ of hearing. This is the scala tympani.
The small line at the top, is that pointing to temporal bone?
Yeah.
And then the small one on the very right, is that temporal
Yeah,
bone?
might get. This might be pointing to the bony labyrinth.
Okay.
That's probably pointing to the bony labyrinth. It's not on your test, but that would be my guess. Which is actually part of the temporal
Okay.
bone. And then you have the membranous labyrinth inside of it. So, which of these compartments has perilymph in them?
The bottom one's the cochlear duct?
Does this have endolymph or perilymph? 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 Endolymph, right.
Which one is that one?
The middle one.
Which one?
The middle one has endolymph.
Yeah.
So what is this whole thing called? Ampulla. This is called the
Scapula?
cupula.
Cupula, sorry. Okay.
What kind of equilibrium is this involved in? Dynamic. Remember, there's an ampulla at the base of each of the semicircular canals, and they're involved in dynamic equilibrium.
That point to that, or we
So this one, you're going to see pictures of each of these. You need to be able to identify which is the only, which kind does not have taste buds in it. Filiform, remember there's the cat ones. The rest of these, fungiform, folate, and valate, you need to identify them by looking at them. So you'll have these 4 images, and then you have to say what they are.
That's pretty easy. It's not bad.
What is this line here pointing to? I'll give you a hint. This is the olfactory bulb. What is it? What goes out of it? Yeah, you can look that up.
Is that the olfactory tract?
Yeah, the olfactory tract, yeah. So this is the olfactory bulb. Here's another image of the olfactory bulb. So what is this pointing to? There's somebody mumbling, that's all I heard. Ethmoid bone, yeah. What specific part of the ethmoid is it? Cribriform plate, yeah. So that's a cribriform plate of the ethmoid. You can see where the olfactory nerve goes up through there, the sensory neurons. And these things here are Yeah, they're the olfactory receptors. This is pointing to the whole, basically the whole receptor. And the dendrite, what do they call these? I can't remember. What are these two things in general?
Hypothalamic neurons.
They're hypothalamic neurons, so we could say that they're what? Neurosecretory cells, yep, neurosecretory. They're going to secrete neurohormones. So that means that they must be going to this part back here, which is the posterior pituitary, but what's the other name for it? Neurohypophysis, yep. And then this would be the adenohypophysis, yep. Does anybody know what this is here? Optic chiasma, yeah. That's why you have visual stuff with pituitary tumors. All right, that's good enough on that. So this one, what would this up here be? Hypothalamus, I heard somebody say it. And this is pointing to these vessels, and that is, what part of the pituitary is this? Anterior, right, the adenohypophysis. So what would be this circulatory system that it's pointing to here? Remember, it's carrying the tropic hormones from the hypothalamus down the anterior pituitary. So it's circulation going from here to here. What do we call that? The hypophyseal portal system. I actually prefer the hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal system, but your book now is calling it the hypophyseal portal system. So that's what this is pointing to. Then the rest of this, these are the anterior pituitary hormones. So going to muscle and bone would be growth hormone, prolactin. It couldn't be oxytocin because of why? These are anterior pituitary hormones. Oxytocin is a posterior. So that's prolactin. What about to the reproductive organs? FSH and LH. And the pituitary hormone to the thyroid is TSH. And to the adrenals is ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. This picture is only on there for one reason, because some people memorize better with visual things. Remember, the 12 cranial nerves go in order till you get to 11 and 12, and the reverse. So olfactory, optic, oculomotor, all the way down. So this is all that will be on your test, is that picture that you see right there. You don't have to label it. I just put it on there because some people might find it helpful, you know, when they're trying to remember the 12 cranial nerves.
That's nice.
So there it is. So the rest of the exam is, you know, I have 1 through 12 in Roman numerals. You have to write in the cranial nerves, you know, olfactory, optic, oculomotor. And then next to them, you put in the basic function.
So like smell, vision.
Smell, vision.
Eye movement.
You know, oculomotor, motor to the eye. Go back on your study guide. Did you get the word bank on the back?
No.
Oh, you don't have the word bank? All right, I'll try to put that up for you.
What's the word bank for?
The word bank is just for the cranial
This?
nerves and their function. So one list has the cranial nerves with detractors, and the other one has the function, you know, basic function. So I don't need to put them up because you've got that in your notes. And let's go through it now. Oculomotor, obviously it's motor to the eye. It's also parasympathetic to the pupils. You know, it's what causes the pupil to constrict. Trochlear, what's the function of the trochlear nerve?
It's motor eye movement.
Motor to what muscle?
Trochlea.
Well, the trochlea holds that tendon in that muscle, which is the, I'll let you look it up. Trigeminal, what's one of the major functions of the trigeminal? Sense to the face, yeah, it's sensory to the face. It's also motor,
For
but
chewing.
yeah, and muscles of mastication, that's motor to them. Abducens, what does the abducens nerve do?
Eye movement.
Abducts the eye, right? So it goes to the it's a motor to the lateral rectus. What's the general for the facial? Sensory or motor?
Sensory input from tongue and ear.
It is both. What about the motor part? What's it go to mostly?
Muscles for facial expressions.
Muscles of facial expression, yeah. Vestibulocochlear, we just covered 8. Glossopharyngeal, what's the main thing for glossopharyngeal? Taste to the posterior of the tongue, right? That's the key thing for it. Vagus, it just goes to everything. It's the major parasympathetic to the thoracic and abdominal pelvic organs. The accessory, key thing to remember is it's motor to the sternocleidomastoid, and hypoglossal goes to the tongue muscles.
We don't need the ones on the right, correct?
You're right.
The ones on the right.
No.
Okay.
I mean, you should be able to identify
Well, yeah.
those, but that's not on your exam.
Okay. It's just
One less thing to worry about.
Yeah,
Making
to
sure.
exactly memorize.
Oh, and the bonus on here, the functions of the cranial nerves, the ones that have numbers